This morning we're going to be talking about the associative and commutative properties, and these are two properties or things in algebra that are always true. They're things that always work, very similar to theorems. So when you look at these examples that I'm going to give you, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I know that's true. It's always been true. Exactly. That's what properties are. So I'm going to give you 4 examples. All right. So here's example 1, example 2, example 3, and example 4, and you can go ahead and get these written on your page. And our title is right up the top there, and don't forget to put your date. So we've got 5 plus 7 equals 12, and then we've got 7 plus 5 equals 12, and then we've got 5 times 7 equals 35, and 7 times 5 equals 35. Okay, so let's stop there with those two first. So you're looking at this first line, 5 plus 7 equals 12, and 7 plus 5 equals 12. Do you agree that both of those are true? Well, let's solve them. 12 equals 12. Yep, that's true. 12 equals 12. That's true. Okay, cool. Let's go down to this next one. 5 times 7 equals 35. 5 times 7 is 35. So therefore that one's true. And 7 times 5 is 35, and therefore that one's true. Okay, so the commutative property is simply this idea that when we are using addition or multiplication, that we can commute, meaning to move. We can move the two things that we're using, like the 5 and the 7, either with addition or with multiplication. We can commute them. We can flip the order that they are in, and we still get the same answer. That is the commutative property, and it works for addition and it works for multiplication, which is really cool. We can change around how things are ordered, and we're still going to get the same answer. I love that idea for the commutative property. So now let's come down to the next 2 examples and go ahead and write these down. What about if we take 7 minus 5 equals 2, and 5 minus 7 equals, what do you think? Does that equal 2? No, it doesn't. It equals negative 2. So in this instance, when we're using subtraction does not stand in the commutative property category because those two things are not equal to each other. This symbol right here is not equal symbol, so it's the equal sign with a slash to it, meaning these two things are not equal to each other. All right, now let's try division, and I bet you are already making a guess about division. We've got 7 divided by 5. That's going to be equal 7/5. And then we've got 5 divided by 7 because we changed the order. We commuted. And that equals 5/7. All right, is 5/7 the same thing as 7/5? No. This one right here is more than 1 whole. And this one right here is less than 1 whole. All right, so those two things are not equal to each other. So the commutative property does not work for subtraction or for division. However, for addition and multiplication, it works perfectly. Okay, you're going to be using that property today in several different equations, and so you want to make sure that you're not trying to use those properties for these two guys. These are a no-go. You will not be able to use the commutative property there. Okay, now let's talk about the associative property. The associative property reminds me a lot of the commutative property. Instead of saying I can commute or change the order of 2 numbers or even 2 variables, instead it says who do you associate with? And when I think about associate, I mean to be paired with. When I think about pairing, I think of parentheses. So I'm going to show you, let's get this all erased here. Okay, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. If you have a 3 in parentheses plus a 5, go ahead and write this down, plus 7 equals 3 plus 5 plus 7. All right, let's take a stab. Who thinks that that is going to be equal to itself? Go ahead and turn and talk to your partner. Who thinks that'll be equal? All right, some of you are saying that it will be equal, and some of you are saying that it won't. So let's solve it. 3 plus 5 equals 8, plus 7 equals 3 plus 5 plus 7 equals 12. All right, now it's seeming like it's not going to be equal to itself. Oh, wait. Maybe it will be. That's 15, and that's 15. Okay, so what the associative property says is that when we are using addition, we can move where the parentheses are in the equation. This is only with addition right now, and we're going to get the same answer in the end. Okay, so it doesn't matter if my parentheses are on the 3 plus 5 or they're on the 5 plus 7. It doesn't matter. The association there will get the same answer. Let's try one with multiplication and see if it works. So we know addition works. I'm leaving that little guy over there. Let's test this guy. We've got 2 times 3 in parentheses times 4. So you're going to write that down. 2 times 3 times 4. Whoops. Okay, well 2 times 3 is 6 times 4. And then 3 times 4 is 12. All right, so now we've got 6 times 4 is 24. And 2 times 12 is 24. Aha! The associative property works for multiplication as well. All right, now we're going to go on to 2 that might work, might not. So go ahead and stop for a minute, talk to your partner, and see if you think it's going to work for subtraction and division. And I'm going to put both of those up here while you talk to your partner. Okay, so I've got 2 problems for you to write down. I'm going to put a blue line in between them so you can tell. So on this side we've got, on the left side we've got subtraction, and on the right side we've got division. And this got a little sloppy, I apologize. All right, so now let's go ahead and try this. 10 minus 7 is 3, and we subtract 4 from that. And on the other side, on the right-hand side of the equal sign, we're going to first do what's in the parentheses. So we leave this 10 minus, and we've got 7 minus 4, which is 3. So on the left side, we should end up with a negative 1, and on the right side, we should end up with a 7. And we're trying to pretend like those are equal to each other, but that is not true, right? So we're finding that the associative property does not work for subtraction. All right, let's make a guess over here with division. 8 divided by 4 is 2 divided by 2. And then we're going to leave this 8 divided by and come over to what's the parentheses, and that's going to be 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 1 does not equal 4. So the associative property does not work for division either. So kind of fun. The commutative properties work. I'm going to put it in green for addition and also multiplication. And they do not work for subtraction and division. So those are the 2 properties of algebra we're going to be using today. So now go back to Google Classroom and try the practice problems.